her main hobby is watching TV.
Not a deal breaker whatsoever.
The only thing she likes to do for fun is watch TV.
Fine with me.
Welcome to the Love and Comedy Podcast.
With your hosts, Aurora Singh.
That's me.
And Drew Schaefer. That's me.
That's him.
And this is season 2. Should we say episode 3?
3?
We should just start saying.
Okay.
We're really
hopefully this is
really painting ourselves into a corner if something happens.
Hopefully this ends up being episode 3. Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see where the evening takes us.
Yeah, but our theme today is starting out.
Starting out. Yeah.
Because every journey has a beginning. Yeah. What is that expression? A journey of 1,000 steps starts with 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
I don't know, but that's very poetic and I like it.
It is.
I don't know what you're saying, but I'm into it.
Oh, it's It's how we all begin everything, whether it's love, comedy, a career, a podcast.
A podcast.
Season 2 of our podcast.
I just saw like a meme or something that said your everything you do, every first video, the first video you put out is going to be bad. Mm-hmm. The first time you do this is going to be bad. The first time you do this is going to be bad. So you just got to do it, because you're not going to get to 100 if you don't start with one.
Exactly. And so if this is the first episode you're listening to, give us 100 episodes, because maybe one will be good.
Yeah, not this one, but episode 100.
Yeah. Oh,
it's going to be good.
Stick it out, you guys.
Stick it out. Poke it out.
Poke it out.
I don't know. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about starting out in love.
In love.
And in
comedy.
Comedy.
And that's what we talk about on the Love and Comedy Podcast.
It is.
All right. So every love story has a beginning. Boy meets girl, or boy meets boy, or girl meets girl.
Girl meets boy.
Or, whatever. See, we're changing the fairy tale. These days good. But everything has a beginning. So when you first start dating somebody, you're really testing the waters and seeing if they're the right person for you.
Yeah, and it's scary too, because you're like, do I open up? What do I hold back? What are they thinking? Like, what's happening?
And is it worth it?
Yeah.
Like, you've listened to the first minute of this podcast. You're like, do I keep listening? Like, what keeps you listening to a podcast? Keeps you in a relationship? Keeps you doing your career? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the possible scary things that you could see early on dating. We're going to play a game.
Okay.
Called Dealbreakers.
Okay.
So it's pretty self-explanatory on this one. If you are dating somebody and you just start dating and you find out, or you see something that we're going to mention, is it a deal?
You got it.
Is it a deal breaker for you? If they can't say deal breaker, would you still date them?
No.
Oh. And that's how the game's played.
Yeah, I guess I have no choice at this point.
At this point, it's too late for you. So
it's too much paperwork.
Stuck with me. Yeah, way too much paperwork.
Okay, so do you want to go back and forth?
Let's go back and forth.
Okay,
let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll give you the first deal breaker.
Okay.
So if you're dating someone and you find out they live with their parents, deal breaker or not?
There's so many things like, okay, no.
Okay.
There's so many things that can be involved with that. So
you can go into it. Yeah.
So when you are first, like, we're talking about first starting out with, like, somebody,
first month
and
or
you
two,
find out that they're still living with their parents.
Yeah. Hopefully you find this out soon, by the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully this isn't 3 years down the line.
It's not a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
But is it for you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like at any age, when you first find that out, you don't have all the information.
No.
Right? So it's like, why? I would want to find out why. Is it just because you're lazy? Then that might be a deal breaker.
If it's indicative of something else, then yeah. But if it's just
indicative, okay, you don't have to brag that you read. We get it.
Deal breaker. He doesn't read.
No, but yeah, because it's like, I mean, we lived with my mom for a while.
It's like,
and it was to save money so that we could, start our lives together. So it's not a deal breaker because it could be a cultural thing. Maybe you're supposed to, maybe the girl is supposed to live with their parents until she meets a man. And then like, it might be cultural. It might be, they're living with their parents because they're starting their own business. They just quit their job and now they're family. Like, you never know. Right. So not a deal breaker.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, maybe 40 years ago, it's like, what's going on here? But now in our situation, it's like, no, there's so many people that are doing it, and it's expensive to live. And if you are at any age, you're like, I can live for free, or I can pay my parents few $100 a month and just help around the house. Like, yeah.
And it kind of sounds like a smart financial
it's all in
move
the details.
To me. Yeah, the
like,
details.
Do they live in an accessory dwelling unit, or do they sleep in the same bed as their parents? Like, big
deal breaker.
Deal breaker. Okay, see, there's the limit.
There's the line. Okay, so mine is, I wrote a bunch. I got to just pick one. Okay, she only wears pink.
Ooh, I dated a girl who only wore pink. And for me, it's a deal breaker.
It is? Okay,
I'm
why?
sorry. Like, if you're Barbie, if you're literally Margot Robbie as Barbie, yes, I will date you.
Why? Because she's hot?
Because she's Margot Robbie, yeah. And she's a astronaut, doctor, politician, news reporter. She's a hardworking Barbie, okay?
Okay.
She's everything.
You're right.
But no, as a person, variety is the spice of life. And I think you need to mix it up, and anything that's that obsessive to me isn't something that I'm prepared for. I don't think.
Okay, that's fair.
How about you? Like a dude who only wears red? Or only,
it's a deal. It's a deal.
That sounds like a gang thing. Women can wear all one color. It's like cute. Guys, it's like,
well, if I met a guy that only wore purple or only wore
sweats every single day,
that's a deal breaker.
See?
Yeah, unless there was like it was like really niche to them and it was like a part of who they, I don't know, you would have to have an amazing personality to like warrant that being part of your character. But if you're just like going into the office every day and you're like, I only wear purple,
it's my favorite color,
it's like, what I don't get it.
Is it sort of like anything that's they only have one thing, like somebody who only eats pizza every day? It's like something you need therapy.
Yeah,
like there's something that snapped there. Yeah. The girl who I dated who wore pink, like she wore pink 95% of the time. When she got married, she made the husband wear like a pink suit, like pink stuff, and I was like, that's cute.
I don't like that.
But I'm like, yeah, like,
I don't like that.
In high school it was an obsession. Now it's healthy. Now I'm like, okay, she's fine now. But in high school I think it was a little unhealthy.
Yeah, I think again it's attention in the details.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, your turn.
All right. This might divide the internet. Deal breaker or not, he's a furry.
Deal breaker. Absolutely. What? No, I'm not into that.
Kink shame. You're gonna.
I am not kink. I am not kink shaming, but that is not for me.
Okay.
That is a deal breaker for me. I am not into that. It is not my kink.
How soon after they tell you they're a furry would you leave?
Immediately. You
wouldn't be like, can we try it one time? You wouldn't be curious?
God, I mean, if he was like really hot.
The Margot Robbie effect. If they're really hot, we will look past the deal breakers.
I mean, if he had like a banging personality and a banging face and a banging body and a banging house and a banging income.
Yeah, you'd be like, why are you putting stuff over this?
I would be like, I guess I could try it.
What if it's only the head? What if he has that body, but he puts the like a fox head on or like a dog head on?
I'm actually now imagining being in the situation, and I'm going to say no, actually. I don't care the personality, anything. Nope. I think for me, I actually, now that I'm like actually imagining it, it's a red flag because I don't want to, I'm just not into that. I think if you're into that, great, you know?
Yeah.
I don't judge you for being into that. I just think that would be a moment where I'm like, this is where we just like don't align.
And yeah, agree to disagree. It's not that you're wrong or I'm wrong.
There's no wrong or right. It's just not for me. That wouldn't get me going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are you into that?
No.
Should we talk about this?
Yeah, I was about to say. After 9 years of dating, I'd like to tell you.
Yeah. 9 years of dating?
Yeah. We've been together 9 years.
Oh, my
almost.
God. That's too many.
Yeah.
Okay. She does not want any pets.
Ooh.
None. Not a single one.
None
Ever. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't end up working out in the long run, but it wouldn't be an instant deal breaker for me. I feel like I would like try it out and like see if I could survive without pets and be like, I still can go to the park and see dogs and breweries where people bring
You would
their
just
dogs.
be that creepy dude at dog parks with no dog. Just
It's
I gotta touch a dog.
Dogs.
I gotta touch your dog. Can I touch your dog?
Which one's yours? None of them. Like that would be creepy. But like, yeah, like
That's so sad.
because I do know some people are like scared of animals and that's why. And I'm like, do I need pets in my life? I'm happier with them for sure.
Yeah.
Could I absolutely?
She never wants a cat or a dog. Nothing. Not even a fish.
I just don't think it would work, but I wouldn't be like, all right, well, nice knowing you and good luck in your life.
This would be like a long term, like that would be a while down the road.
That
where
would
you're
be,
like, really
yeah.
no pets, and then like actually dig into it.
Yeah,
but
that's
it wouldn't
like-
be a deal breaker.
Yeah,
right
that's
away.
like in the first
Okay.
month, like I don't want kids. It's like we'll come to this bridge a different time and cross or destroy the bridge and burn it. That kind of thing. Like for me, it would be, let's see where it goes, but I would be very a little hesitant
Okay.
at that point for sure.
Okay, you do yours.
Um,
If the guy didn't want pets.
Yeah.
I would. That's a.
Oh, did you guys? If you're watching the video, Aurora just patted my hair down. She's so
'cause,
cute.
well, someone's got to do it. Are you gonna do it for me? Is my hair okay?
Your hair looks great.
I can't wait to watch this back and be like, my
The
hair
whole
is
time.
sticking up in the back and it looks like shit. If a guy didn't want pets, I found that out right away. That would, oof. It wouldn't be a deal breaker, but it would be a red flag.
Yeah.
It would be on the pros and cons list. It would be a con. By the way, did I ever tell you that we did a pros and cons list for you?
No.
And by we, I mean Katie and I. And by pros and cons list idea, it was Katie's idea.
What? Do you guys still have it somewhere?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you gotta come up with it though.
I know.
For the viewers, listeners.
I don't remember when we did it either, because I can't remember if we did it like when you asked me on a date and then I said yes and then I said no and then I said yes again. I don't remember if it was in between that or if it was like when we were getting more serious.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, we did a pros and cons list. Katie and I were just talking about it this week.
Wow.
Yeah. Turns out you had more pros.
Yeah, look at us go. I made it.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, yours is, yeah.
Okay.
Or no, it's mine because you just asked about the pets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. Deal breaker or not, he doesn't put the grocery cart back.
Deal breaker.
Okay.
Absolute deal breaker. Absolute deal.
Even if he's hot.
Absolute deal breaker.
Okay. Why is that?
You're so rude.
Mm-hmm.
That's so rude. Where are you leaving? Where is he leaving it? By
just
the
in
car?
the parking lot. Yeah, just in the next.
No,
vacant
you're so
little
rude.
space.
That's so rude. People come out there. It doesn't matter if it's a beautiful day, a hot day, a rainy day. People are out there just trying to do their job, and you're just going to be a dick. You can't just put the cart back.
Yeah.
It takes an extra 30 seconds to put the cart back. Put it back by the store. Put it back in the... It's not that hard.
Yeah, no. That's a dude who finishes, and even though it only take 30 seconds, doesn't finish you. He's
Exactly.
like selfish.
It just... Oh,
he's like, oh, I'm done with it.
that's the attitude of like, it's their job. It's like, but they don't like it. Like,
No.
they're just trying, like, help them out, spread kindness. And it's like, that's a deal breaker for me. If we went on like a grocery shopping date and he did that, I would go home and really be like, I got to figure out how to either, I would give him a chance to talk about, I would like talk about it and be like, hey, like, why would you, do that? And if he was like, well, that's like their job, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to head out.
Yeah.
I'm good here. Thank you.
The argument I've read is that people say not putting their carts back makes it where somebody gets a job putting carts back. Like if everybody just put their carts back, there wouldn't be need for somebody to be the cart picker upper.
No, because I don't believe that, because if you put all the carts back in the cart corral, someone still has to come get all those carts.
Yeah.
All you're doing is saving them time from having to walk the entire parking lot to collect your lazy ass cart to put it back there. But someone still has to go out there. By the way, people who go out to get the carts, that's not their only job.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you don't realize. Like, it's not like one person's job all day. It's just wanders a lot.
Just sitting and then being like, cart.
There's one.
And like running, gotta go get the cart. Like, that's not their job.
It's always, it's like some bagger or some cashier. It's like, hey, we need a cart run.
It's like a cleanup on aisle 2. It's like cart run. We're running low on carts in the corral. Like, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
So absolutely deal breaker. What about you?
Oh yeah, absolute deal breaker. Yeah, I've told you the biggest deal breaker with somebody I was with was we went to a movie together. At the end of the movie, we had like half of the popcorn left, and she dumped it, like flipped it over to dump it out on the ground. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, they pay people to clean it up. It's fine.
It's so rude.
And I was like, ha ha ha. And it wasn't a ha ha ha. It was a really. And I was like, oh no.
So I didn't get... This wasn't the reason, but this was a contributing factor as to why I got dumped by my first boyfriend. Because
what you're about to say, or because you didn't put your cart back one time?
Because what I'm about to say, which is on the lines of not putting my cart back. I was that person.
Okay.
And I didn't understand at the time the impact of what I was doing. And it ended up having to be a whole heartbreak for me to learn these lessons. But I remember there was one night after a basketball game, we went to Chipotle, and Chipotle closes at like, oh, there's a mosquito on your face.
I just saw it fly on me. I just had a vision.
It was just a full mosquito that just landed on your face.
Oh.
That's okay. I got it.
Thank you.
At least it didn't go in your mouth.
Oh, that would have been.
We went to Chipotle late at night. Chipotle closes at 10. We got there at like 9:40. I was so hungry after the game.
Yeah.
So we drove over there.
Just pulling a Jason Aldean, showing up to a burrito place 10 minutes before closing.
So it's not so much that we showed up late, right?
Okay.
It's what I did after that. So we showed up late. I ordered my burrito bowl or whatever I got. And then we sat down and ate it. And I ate it quickly. Mm-hmm. And then it was like maybe 10:05 and we were sitting outside. And I finished my meal. And I was like, all right, let's go. And then I was going to leave all my stuff there. Then he was like, what are you like, aren't you going to throw them away? I was like, no, it's their job. Like, I was like, this is what they do. I was like, let's just go. Like, it's not my job to throw this away. That's what they do. And so that wasn't a reason he broke up with me, but it was definitely a contributing factor.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't and that wasn't the only time I did some fucked up stuff like that. So I definitely see it as a deal breaker because now I'm older and I like understand the impact and like human kindness, which I guess I was very entitled when I was younger. Can't do it now.
Yep.
Cannot. Okay. I think I have one more to do.
I think so.
Okay. I'm just going to do one more.
Okay.
Let's just each do one more.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's see. Ooh, for the last one, her main hobby is watching TV.
Not a deal breaker whatsoever.
The only thing she likes to do for fun is watch TV.
Fine with me. That almost feels like you wrote that about me. You're like, Drew only does comedy and watches TV.
No, you have other hobby. You like to go outside. You like to walk, hike, run.
Kind of, but TV's my like.
Okay, can I do a different one?
Now that I feel attacked.
Okay,
good for her.
She is a picky eater.
Again, not a deal breaker.
Okay, hold on. Let me think
You're
of
just
it.
trying to find.
She's friends with all her exes.
Not a deal breaker. Healthy.
Okay, she hates spicy food.
I mean, again, not a deal breaker.
She doesn't know how to cook.
Not a deal breaker. I'm a feminist, everybody. She does not ever have to cook if she does not want to.
Okay, fine. Okay, you do yours now.
You went down the whole line trying to get me to be like, I would not. No,
okay,
all these are things that I could easily work around. Okay, this one is a very personal one for you.
Oh, boy.
Deal breaker. He flushes with the toilet seat up.
Is he willing to change his ways?
No.
Deal breaker.
He doesn't see the point.
Deal breaker.
Just flush it. Yeah.
Deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
You need to put the lid down. I'm not talking about the seat. I'm talking about the lid. The whole lid.
The whole
you
lid.
need to put the lid down before you flush, because when you flush, all of everything that was in that toilet just splatters all over the wall, the shower curtain, everything that's in there, and the light switch, and then you just go in there and touch oh god, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
This is a fun fact. Aurora, when we have friends over, we'll write on the little welcome card, make sure you flush with the toilet seat
Yes,
down.
I always say, please put the toilet lid down before you flush. Thank you.
Because who's out here cleaning walls?
And we wash our shower curtain in the laundry.
Yep.
Like that room can be dirty, and people are just out here touching and then touch their eyes. You're putting poop in your eyes, guys.
You're putting poop in your eyes.
You're putting caca.
Yep.
Caca poo poo in your eyeballs.
Yeah. Don't do
gross.
that.
It's
don't
gross.
Do that.
When you're first dating somebody.
Yes.
And we're not talking first date. We're talking when you first are starting a relationship with someone, you guys are becoming more exclusive. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most important thing to focus on in that new relationship?
Yeah, I think early on is when you're trying to determine long-term compatibility. So I think that you need to be comfortable being your full self with your new partner.
Yes.
So whether that's like your values or things you like to do, being yourself and not compromising because you're scared they're going to judge you, or compromising because you think if you're yourself, they're going to leave you. Or like for me, like I love to sing in the car. And if a woman was like, oh, you sing so badly, like, and your music is trash, like, stop. I'd be like, all right, you do not disrespect Rebecca Black like that, you know?
Okay,
like,
to be fair, that is so annoying.
It's so annoying?
Yeah.
You don't want me to do it?
No.
Is that what?
Don't do it.
Not here.
Don't.
It's not Friday. If it was Friday, I would sing Friday because that's the only day you're allowed to.
It's true, though, because then if you feel shame about something that you enjoy...
Yeah.
Then you do build that resentment towards them. And then you're like, well, I feel bad about being myself.
Yeah. You hold it in and then you're like, they won't let me be that. So it's like that secret. Yeah. That secret
and then you
resentment.
it holds you back from growing, because then it makes you feel like you second guess your choices and you're like, is this worth trying? Are they going to make fun of me or make me feel uncomfortable?
And same with core values. Like if you're like with somebody who, like, for example, like the R word or like other like slurs, some people are like, that's not, I can say that, that's fine. And other people don't.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody who doesn't say it and your partner does, and you like just laughed and don't challenge them on it, like, you're going to, resent them.
Yeah. Cause then they're not open to like learning, growing, you know, and that is a core value thing that it's just difficult when you're getting to know someone and then you are excited about them and then they start revealing a little bit of who they are and it might be negative. It's like, oh, well, now I have to make the decision. Is this a deal breaker? You know, or should I start over with someone new?
Yeah. And I think it's having that conversation, being comfortable to be your full self. So
and I think another part is being able to be comfortable to talk about those things as they come up. Like you said, if they say a slur and that makes you uncomfortable, are you in a safe space where you can express that? And if not, then that should be the issue.
Exactly.
That should be the red flag. That's like, I'm not comfortable saying that makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. That should be a red flag. You should feel, even if you don't agree with everything that they do or love everything that they do, you need to be able to at least talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And have it be received.
Yeah. And how about you for your initial dating period? What are you looking for? What's the one most important thing?
I think the most important thing to focus on when you first start dating someone is experiencing experiences together. Okay. I think that's the most important thing to focus on, because that's going to reveal a lot about the other person and how you guys will handle fun and negative experiences in the future.
So you're putting them through like an obstacle course. Like, how are you going to respond to?
It's so yes and no.
Okay.
Because part of it is you want to see them. Yes, part of it is you do want to see them in conflict, right? If like there's a bad server or, you know, plans go awry, how are they going to handle that?
Yeah.
But really, in the beginning of a relationship, I want to focus on like having fun. I want to see, how do you like to spend your time? How do you communicate your joy? How do you communicate your frustration? Like, how do you make plans? Are you just kind of like whatever, like, let's just show up and figure it out? Is this an adventure, or are you an itinerary person? Like, I want to know about you. And I feel like experiencing experiences gets you a huge like window into how they handle their day-to-day life, how they communicate. Oh, I can't do that this weekend, but I can do it next week. Like, it shows you how they communicate, how they handle stress, how they handle fun, everything.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, when you're experiencing things together, you're experiencing fun. Like, like when we first started dating, we went on like a tour of what is it? Virginia
City was our first date.
Virginia City. Yeah. So we like went on this like little tour of this little old town in Nevada, and it was so fun. And like, we have fun memories and stories from that day, from that date.
We do. And it was like a moment where like they showed us the spite houses, where it's like one guy built his house and like a centimeter away from the others so that he couldn't get any sunlight in his house.
Yeah, and
just
it's
to
like
spite him.
Just like things like that, and we both found joy in that.
We thought it was so funny, and everybody else on the tour was just like whatever, and we were like, this is the funniest thing ever.
And we bonded over it.
We bonded because we were like, they don't get it.
So it wasn't even like a test, right? It was just like, oh, like, there's something that we both found funny together, and now that's something that like, oh, we kind of have the same sense of humor. And then we spent the whole day together, so we got food, we got drinks, like we were able to make decisions together and communicate and also have really fun memories from the day.
For sure.
So I think experiencing fun with your partner in the beginning is really important to focus on, because you get to see everything.
Yeah.
Like, if something like, let's say we paid for the tour and then they canceled it, that would have been a good opportunity for you to see how I react, how you react, and then we could learn more about each other.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I think have fun. Just focus on having fun. We have fun in the beginning. It's fun. It should be fun. A new relationship should be fun. You spend time together. Also, we didn't just do stuff like that. We would just like lay around and listen to music. Yeah. And that's something we realized we had in common. Like, have fun.
I was testing to make sure I could play my songs and sing to you, and you wouldn't be like, ugh. You were like, oh, you sing so well. I'm like, she's a liar. Okay, good. For comedy today, again, starting out, we got a lot of our listeners, viewers are starting out in comedy. Maybe some people are thinking about starting out.
Well, this came up too because I was just doing a show with a newer comic.
Okay.
Who I love and who loves this podcast.
Our biggest fan.
Raydeen.
Yeah.
So I was just doing a show with Raydeen, and she was telling me about things. She's starting out in stand-up. She's very talented. And she was telling me about some of the things that she's doing in the beginning of stand-up to help her improve. And I love everything that she's doing, but I was thinking about like, what is the most important thing to focus on when you start out stand up?
Yeah.
So we're going to do like a yuck yum on things that people can do when they're starting out stand up.
Yeah. What you can do to get better, or what you can be doing. So, yum yuck. So how you feel about it? Taking a comedy class.
Let's answer together on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yuck.
No offense. We are recording at the comedy spot.
We are recording alive.
Yeah.
From the Sacramento Comedy Spot, who has classes, comedy classes, improv classes, sketch writing, all the good stuff. They
are, for some people, a good strategy.
Yes.
Taking a comedy class could be a strategy, but
for me, it's a yuck.
For me, it's a yuck as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's something you learn more by doing rather than studying, like
I
learning.
think with stand-up, people really find any excuse to start stand-up without starting stand-up.
Yeah.
I really think that.
That's a good way of putting
there's
it, yeah.
So many people, when they find out we do stand-up, they're like, oh, I have a friend. It just happened to us getting coffee today. Oh, I have a friend that wants to start out doing stand-up. Or, oh, I've always thought about it's on my bucket list. I'm like, why haven't you done it? They're like, oh, because so they just come up with any excuse to not do it.
Yeah.
And I think that a comedy class, for some people, I understand that you like the structure and you kind of just want to learn the basics. I think a comedy class is useful after you've already gone to an open mic.
I agree with you. I think
if you have never gone to an open mic, if you've never been on stage doing stand up, I think starting a stand-up comedy class is a really bad idea.
I think, yeah, you need some experience. You need to know what you're actually getting into. Because, yeah, it's the same thing. People are like, oh, yeah. They show up like day one of a comedy class. They're like, so how many minutes do I get to perform? And they have like all these questions. Like on Reddit, there's so many people in the stand-up chat that are like, I'm thinking of doing my first open mic. What should I expect? I'm like, go to one.
Just go. Just go.
Like, I know some people need a lot of help, but it's like same with comedy classes. They show up and they have no idea what stand-up even is.
I think even just one open mic before. I think every requirement for a comedy class should be you need to go to at least one open mic and then come to a class.
I like that.
Because I just think that it's just too... Stand-up comedy is the one talent that you have to go do to get better at. Mm-hmm. And so I just think you need to start. Okay. Yuck or yum? Going to open mics. One, two, three. Yum! Well, we just kind of talked about it.
We did, yeah. So
yeah, what's your thought?
You have to go to open mics. So I want to specify, like, a lot of people, I think, just go to open mics and they just say random shit into a microphone and they're like, I'm a comedian, I'm learning. You need to, especially early on, go with a goal. So tonight, I'm trying my tight 5. Tonight, I'm going to work on... They don't know
what that means, though, babe.
But that's the thing, like, it doesn't have to be tight 5. I'm just saying, like, you have to go with a goal once you're, like, used to it. Like, some people, I see them early on, they'll go and they just keep doing the exact same 5 minutes at every open mic everywhere in town without changing anything. Mm-hmm. Your goal should be, okay, well, tonight I'm going to try some new tags on this joke, or I'm going to leave this part out and see how it does. Like, you should be, like, going with a plan and a goal of, like, here's what I'm doing tonight. I'm learning how to do crowd work. I'm learning how to do this. Like, you should go with a plan and not just fly by the seat of your pants, basically.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think that when you're first starting out in stand-up, in the first couple months of going to open mics, you just need to go.
Okay.
I think you need to just show up. I think it's equivalent to, like, getting back into or starting to work out.
Okay.
You just need to get into the habit of being in that environment. So, like, when you first start going to the gym, you can go with the workout plan and all that, but I think it's more important just to show up, just to be there and make it consistent. You go to the gym every single day and you walk on the treadmill. Good. You've done that for a month. Now your body is ready to be there. I think it's the same thing for stand up. I think in the first couple months, you just need to be on stage and learn. And just
get used to that feeling of being...
Just get used to the feeling of speaking into a microphone, being in front of people, seeing the audience see you. And I just think you need to be in the habit or learn the habit of just showing up and being a comedian and just living that, like, it sucks at open mics. It's sometimes good. Like, I think it's important just to show up.
Yeah.
And then after you have made that a habit and you're, like, used to it, then you start to learn, like, okay, now I can kind of switch things around. You also at open mics meet other comedians that go, hey, you know, how long have you been doing it? Oh, I just started last week. Oh, hey, you know what? Here's a little bit. Do you want a little bit of advice? Here's a little bit that can help you. Right. And then you start to learn and pick it up. And now you're starting to learn the lingo of, like, a type 5, a tag, a premise, a punchline. You're starting to learn the lingo because you're exposing yourself.
Yeah, true.
So that's my take on it.
So yeah, you just going in general. For me, I think I'm trying to save myself because I go to open mics still, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear your same 5 every week if you're not changing and improving. Like,
see, and I'm the kind of person that's like, I see you there and I'm like, good job.
Yeah, see, we're different.
I'm the person in the gym that's like, I see everybody there and I'm like, good for you for being here.
My first year in comedy, my goal was never repeat a joke. I only lasted like 4 months before I started repeating jokes. And some of it was because people were like, oh, are you doing the Snow White joke? Are you doing the DMV joke? Like, they would ask me to do jokes. I'm like, okay. But my goal was write a new 5 every week.
Yeah. And I think that and it's different for every person, but I feel like for me, that would set me up for failure in the beginning, because that would be like an unrealistic expectation for me. And I would want to make it more of a habit first than setting all these, like, it's like, I keep going back to, like, working out and diet culture, but it's like, okay, Monday I'm going to start doing this diet and then I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And it's like, or just, like, be kind to yourself and be like, I'm going to make healthier choices and I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week and I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to go. Because when I'm there, I'm going to do something, and then slowly be like, I like the treadmill. Let me look up some treadmill workouts. Okay, now I want to get into weight training. And then you start to learn and grow as opposed to being like, here's your rigid schedule.
I gotcha. Yep.
Okay, next thing.
Yum or yuck. Reading a comedy book.
One, two, three. Yum.
Good. I wasn't sure. I was like, I think this could be the one we disagree. I say yum.
Yum. At any point.
At any point, yeah.
At any point. Before you start, when you're starting, 10 years in, 20 years in. Knowledge is power in that sense. In that sense. Not in a comedy class.
Comedy class, there's too many bad habits, and you're sometimes not at the comedy spot. The comedy spot is other Drew.
Yes. Fantastic classes.
Great classes.
But I think a book is something that you can passively absorb knowledge. I think even before you start stand-up, it can give you insight. It can give you the confidence to get up on stage. Yeah. It might be that thing that's like, okay, I'm just going to go do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's helpful.
And I think it's, like you were saying, at any stage of your comedy career, because you could read the same page before you start stand-up comedy, 1 year in, 10 years in, and that passage is going to hit you differently. And it's like maybe
good point.
Before you started, it made no sense. And then 10 years in, you're like, wait, oh my God, it is about context or whatever. Like that's why these jokes for years have been off, because the context or whatever, So I think it's a good one. Yeah. At any stage.
At any stage. Yeah.
All right. Yuck or yum. Studying your favorite comedian sets. Like watching their videos. And
I thought there was more. You said it like there was more to the sentence.
I just didn't do a little like line break. So I was like, oh, nope, that's not. That's the next one. Okay, so studying your favorite comedian sets.
One, two, three.
Yum. Yeah.
Yum.
I think study, but not copy.
Yeah.
That's something. There was a show I did recently, and a headliner was watching one of the openers. And he was like, hey, is this person new? I was like, not really. He's like, oh, he's acting like a comedian. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you don't hear like that's a very like John Mulaney. John Mulaney would do the bit the exact same way. Yeah. And it's like, John Mulaney's great. So shouldn't that be a good thing? He's like, no, like, I don't know who he is.
Right.
And so, I think study to learn the methods and then put a twist on it.
Yeah, I think if you're an athlete, you're going to study other athletes and learn their work ethic. You're going to learn how they got to where they are. You're going to see them play and be like, oh, I need to work harder so I can be like that. So you
copy Steph Curry's dribble moves, like do it, but I put your own twist on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Study. Before I did my first mic, I was always a fan of stand-up. I was and still am a fan of Joe Coy, and I really loved his storytelling about his family. Yeah. And so when I first started stand-up, that was what I decided to go with. I was like, I like the way he tells stories, so I'm going to go on stage and talk about my personal experiences. Yep. And I only started doing that because I did, in a sense, study Joe Coy. Mm-hmm. And then even throughout my comedy career, watching people like Taylor Tomlinson, Joe Coy, Michelle Buteau, like all these comedians I look up to, I'm like, what do I like about them? Okay, I love Michelle Buteau's stage presence. Yep. And that's something I relate to. So now I can be more confident on stage because of that. I love Joe Coy's storytelling. I love Taylor Tomlinson's like misdirects. Like these are, and then also it helps you learn the lingo too. And and then you can start applying it to your writing. Yep. Yeah.
Definitely a good one.
Definitely a yum.
Okay. A couple more. Yuck or yum. Writing groups.
One, two, three.
Yum.
Yuck.
Ooh, why yuck? Why
I'm in between.
Why are you in between?
I think writing groups are helpful when you're with good comics.
Ooh, yeah. Shots fired. There are some where it's like, none of us know what we're doing here, so it'll make us all better to be bad together.
I've been in writing groups where I'm like, this is not productive or helpful in any way, shape, or form. There are writing groups that I've done, and I'm going to be honest, they were all with like straight white men. And they all, instead of trying to like help in the joke writing process or like stage presence or anything, it almost seemed like they were all trying to like one up each other in jokes instead of like trying to actually help.
Yeah.
And that wasn't productive for me. It was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do. It had not, like, they couldn't make it not about them.
And that's a challenge. So I see the Yuck, especially starting out.
Yeah.
But it's something over time, see who has comedy styles that you respect and that you relate to, or you can gain something from.
If you're starting out in stand-up and you can find a writing group with comedians who are more seasoned than you, do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. Don't join a group of other people 3 months in and nobody has any experience. Nobody knows what they're doing. Yeah.
You need to find a way to be in a writing group with people who are better than you.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I mean, they don't all have to be better than you. You can be, but you guys need to be at different levels.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, if you're in a writing group and you have people in there that are better than you, and you have some people in there that are maybe newer than you and not as good as you, they might give perspective of a newer comic, like a green comic that's like, well, why don't you just do this? And we're all like, oh my God, wait, that's a good idea. We didn't think of that because we're so deep in it. But then we also have wisdom to share with the other person.
Yeah.
So it brings them up and it brings us, it kind of like, it works as like a, what's it called? A fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? An organism? Like it has like a ecosystem.
Ecosystem. There you go. Yeah.
Words. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, it's good. You have to make sure there's somebody better than you in there or else, you're not going to grow from it. Because if you're around other people that also are new and maybe they don't know, like, how to avoid low-hanging fruit, which low-hanging fruit is like the first joke that everybody thinks about. Like if you were doing a joke and somebody in the crowd could shout out the punchline, that's not a compliment, that's an insult.
Yeah.
So if you're around other people and they all are shouting out the same punchline or same joke idea, somebody else has already done it or the audience is thinking it and it's not going to get the big laugh.
Right.
So you need people that are like, a little bit more seasoned and just a good variety. And don't rely on it as the only tool.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Do we have any more of those?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do a couple more.
Let's do one more because I think this one might be more divisive.
Ooh, okay.
Yuck or yum, memorizing a set word for word.
1, 2, 3. Yuck.
Oh, I thought maybe.
Why would you think I would say yum on that? I've never done that.
For me, I kind of actually thought I might say yum a little bit. Like I thought about it. I was like, no, it's yuck. I was like, she might say yum. No, I think you lose some of the authenticity.
Agreed. Yeah.
But that being said, my first 2 months, I typed out my sets word for word.
That's okay.
And then tried to sort of remember them.
That's okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah, because in the beginning, you're trying to figure out what works for you.
Yeah. And for me, it was all in the writing. So it was so important that the setup was right. It was concise. Like I studied before I took the stage.
Yeah.
So I knew like, okay, rule of 3, make sure I know what the 3 things are. Like specificity, make sure I know the details that I'm going to add to it. So I wrote it out.
Yeah, I know headliners that are amazing that type out their sets.
Yeah.
Word for word.
Yeah.
But then they study it, but they don't go on stage necessarily with the words memorized.
Yeah.
It's more that they can type it out and then see the timing where the jokes are. Mm-hmm. They can see how wordy it is. Yeah. So I actually remember I was in a writing group and there someone was like, I encourage you to type out your set word for word because then you can see how many words there are.
Yeah.
And then you can cut the fat and you can remove some words that aren't helping the story and make your jokes more like to the point and funny and get that laughs per minute higher.
Yeah.
So you can use it in that way. But I think if you are just trying to memorize it like a script, then it does remove you from being in the moment.
I agree.
Okay. So when you're first starting out stand-up comedy, what's the one thing you think you need to focus on? Like when you're first starting out stand-up, you're a year in, now it's a habit, you're going out to mics, you've done a couple showcases, you're getting into it, right? You're like a year, maybe year and a half in. Like, what is the most important thing you need to focus on? One thing.
For me, I think it's being your most unique, authentic self. So finding the way, they always say like comedy voice. I don't expect you to know your voice in the first year or two. Like it took me 8 years to find my voice in comedy. And did I do okay before that? Yeah. But it wasn't until I found my voice that it started to click for me. And it was when I realized I just have to be myself up there. And I see some of these younger comics that are getting like big opportunities very early on, like way sooner than I did. And I'm like, what's the difference? I'm like, oh, because on day one, even if they weren't funny, they were themselves. And I think like for me, the funny came first and the authenticity, the me came later. And I think I'm seeing more success these days with people who just start out authentically themselves. So finding yourself, what makes you laugh, and making it in the context the audience can laugh too.
Yeah, I think that's good.
How about you?
Well, I definitely agree with you. I also think, I think the number one thing to focus on when you're starting stand up and you're now in the scene is being funny.
Okay.
But it also
in any way or specific way, like be a good writer or be good on stage or just overall just be funny.
I think you just need to focus on writing a joke, but I also think it has to do with like being authentically yourself. Like when I'm first starting out stand-up comedy, I'm trying to think of like what is the number one thing. I think the number one thing is like you just need to know how to make an audience laugh. So that means writing a joke. That means stage presence. That means writing in your voice. You know, I think that a lot of new comics go out and they go, I need to get better at crowd work. I need to focus on my brand. I need to do clips. Everything's like, I got to clips. I got to write for clips. I got to do. And I'm like, I get it. I understand that that's part of it. But I think if you want to make this a long-term goal, a long-term career, you need to focus on being consistently funny, like all the time, like undeniably funny. And then also just learning how to like let the bad times just roll off your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice for the first year, especially.
Yeah. Just know that it's not always going to be fun.
Nope.
And sometimes, and focus on the fact, you know what else I would say focus on?
What?
Oh my God, please get your mental health in check.
Oh,
that is like, honestly, if I could go back and talk to first year Aurora, I would be like, hey girl, start therapy.
Yeah. This is
this
therapy.
Is the time to do therapy.
Yeah.
Do it now.
The stage is nice. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
But it's not therapy.
Yeah. So I would say focus on being authentically yourself, and therapy would definitely help.
I also just like for every comedy scene, no more people that are just mentally unstable.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's dangerous, I think, doing stand-up without some kind of support. It's whether you're in therapy or you have a support system. I think that this industry can really eat people alive, literally, and people unalive themselves all the time in this industry. It's really sad. But focus on your mental health, focus on being funny, and focus on being yourself, not what you think a comedian is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And any time and effort you put into the first couple years of doing stand-up, you need to put into you being yourself on stage, not like classes that are gonna like teach you to be yourself, because you can't be taught to be yourself.
No.
I don't know. What am I saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Learn to be yourself. And
learn
anyway,
to be yourself.
So I know like both of us are very like vulnerable, realistic people on stage. We share life stories, that sort of thing. But even if you're doing characters or one-liners, like find a perspective that's unique to you. Your characters, like Tim Robinson's characters on I Think You Should Leave, there's like certain energies that he has that he brings to those characters. And so you can tell when it's like, this is his idea, he believes in it.
Yeah. And he commits.
He commits to it. Yeah. And there's a message or something to it. So whatever it is, just.
I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Love and Comedy Podcast with your host, Drew Schaefer, and myself, Aurora Singh.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We talked about starting out.
Yeah, starting out in love, starting out in careers, comedy, all the things. You can follow us on all the socials at the Love and Comedy Podcast. And by all the socials, I just mean Instagram and TikTok.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Who's on Threads? Who's on X? Nobody.
And we release episodes every Thursday.
We do.
So please like,
share, subscribe, tell your friends, whatever it is. Comment. Definitely comment. Rate.
Yes.
And if you have any questions that you want us to talk about or topics, if you're like, hey, I love your perspective, I would love to learn more about blank. We want to hear it.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
We're lazy. We're not good at making ideas, so please.
I think we're pretty good at making ideas, but we would love the help.
Yeah, we'd love the help.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Love you. Love you.
Comedy you.